Well, Greg, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it for a couple of reasons. Number one is because I am really passionate about exit planning. So, first of all, I started as a wealth manager. I've done that for 30 years. And there's three different stories I want to tell you. Number one, I met with a client, a doctor, a spinal surgeon, actually, a couple of years ago, and he was a friend. And at some point, he says, "So, Martin, if I would want to retire, what do you think my business is worth?" This is before I studied any of this. But I have a degree in finance. I said, typically, Sandeep, because he was Indian, typically you, in a business like yours, your business is valued 1 to 1.5 your cash flow. So what are your annual billings? He said, about $20 million. I said, so your number probably will come in around $30 million. So then we talk about other stuff. So the question I'm asking myself, or I'm asking you, what did I do with that information? And the answer is absolutely nothing. That was just a great opportunity to be of service to my client, but I didn't know anything about exit planning. So fast forward a year later, my best friend Charlie, a retiring psychiatrist, closed up his practice. And I said, so Charlie, who have you found to replace yourself and work with your patients? He said, no, I don't think other people can do that. And he lives on the East Coast, and he came to visit me a week ago, and he said, Martin, I'm sorry, I didn't listen to you more. Last quick story. His wife, actually, Jane, her father was a plumber. I never knew how much money he made, anything like that, but I do know that she got a pretty hefty inheritance, and her brother did as well. So I'm assuming that plumbing business must have been pretty good. So I asked her, I said, how did your father sell the business? And you know what the sad part of it is? It sold for parts because he had no idea what to do. So I've made it my lifetime mission to help particularly small business owners with that, how to get the ball rolling. Step number one, and Greg, you said it already, is get a valuation. Doesn't mean you need to sell today, tomorrow, next week, or next year. It doesn't matter, but you want to know what this is worth. And we are well positioned to furnish you with that. So now you have something to go on. Greg.
So you're done with your side of it. So when you meet with a client, do they have a takeaway? Do you have some materials that they go away with after that appointment that they can think about?
Yes. Thank you for that. So the first thing is I have learned, metrics are for managers, but owners have a different set of principles that's important. Number one, family dynamics are extremely important. That could be a wife or children. One objective that I personally had was I wanted my son to take over my business. But you know what? He has no interest in it. So I am, at some point, have to find somebody else who wants to take over my business. The takeaway is once I have a good understanding of my clients or prospective clients' business model, I help them determine what, number one, are the value drivers, and number two are the key performance indicators. Value drivers are simply those big things that make your business valuable. I'm thinking, how repeatable is your business? How repeatable is your cash flow? And the key performing indicators, if we can go back like 3 years, we can show the progression. How are your numbers stacking up over time? And second, the evaluation report that I will give people also shows how their business is doing relative to others in their SIC code in that same industry. So plumbing company, I have, Greg, I showed you evaluation report for a dentist. So as you have seen, his office got compared with tens of thousands of other dentist offices across the country. And now you have a starting point. And number two is then I work with them, obviously, to see how can we improve upon those numbers, particularly multiple. What is the multiple? In some business, the multiple the multiple is a number that you can sell your business for. Typically, if you're in the service industry, your multiple will be 1. So your sales are, let's say, $500,000 minus expenses, let's say 100,000. Your multiple of 1, your business is worth 400,000. Some other businesses have multiples of 2, 3, 4, or even 5 times. And our focus is to help clients increase their multiples, again, by looking, number 1, what are the value drivers, and number 2, what are their key performance indicators.
Fascinating.
Does that make sense?
It really does. And I think any business owner is always, just like they're curious about whether the salesperson's any good, I think on a daily basis, or at least monthly at the end of the month when they get their financials, everybody wonders what their business is worth. So thank you for bringing us up on that.